ASMR, and welcome to another instalment of our series looking at football clubs and national teams around the world, their stats, their history, their kits, and their players, all on Wikipedia. And I thought, with it being the international break, that we would continue the international theme, picking up from the last video in which we covered Spain. Now today, as you can see, we're covering their Iberian neighbours, Portugal, who played yesterday and beat Armenia 9-1, which I believe secures their qualification to the 2026 World Cup. Of course, they were now famously beat in what will be an iconic match if the Republic of Ireland make it to the World Cup. They were beaten by the Republic of Ireland 2-0, with Ronaldo being sent off for an elbow in what was his first ever red card for the national team, I believe. And even before that, he said he was going to be a good boy and that he hoped that he wasn't booed. And he got booed because he got sent off. So let's look at his national team now. Like the previous episodes, we do have another kit to look at. It's the 2022 away kit. So I believe this was the kit worn to the World Cup. I can't remember, I definitely bought it in 2022. Whether they wore it to the World Cup or not that year, I'm not 100% certain. I'm fairly sure they did, but we'll look at this kit towards the end of the video and touch on this here, one of their honours. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on and look at the Portugal national football team. The Portugal national football team has represented Portugal in men's international football competition since 1921. The national team is controlled by the Portuguese Football Federation, the governing body for football in Portugal. Portugal's home stadium is the Estádio Nacional in Oeiras, located next to its primary training ground at the FPF headquarters, but the team generally plays its home matches in stadiums across the country. The head coach is Roberto Martinez, and the captain is Cristiano Ronaldo, who holds the team records for most caps and most goals, which we can see here. So there's the Portugal crest. Quite an iconic looking crest, particularly if you are an England fan. One that has broke our hearts a few times over the years. So the team of, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, I don't want to offend anyone. They're called, their nicknames are the Lusos, I could pronounce that one. Martinez and Ronaldo, as we discussed. Most caps, Cristiano Ronaldo with 226. Now, I know that Wikipedia sometimes has the stats off, but I'm fairly certain that's accurate. 226 is crazy. And 143 goals. I think he's the highest scoring international player of all time. I'm fairly certain he got that record last year. Again, the Estádio Nacional is the stadium. They've played 46 matches at the stadium from 1945 to 87. Where is it located? In Portugal. Oops. Don't like these maps. They're a bit awkward to navigate, we can zoom out there. So it's located. I thought that was the bottom of the country. No, it's just outside Lisbon. So I've been down here. I've been to Albufeira, but it's located in Lisbon by the sort of what would you call that? The entrance to Lisbon. There's a name for it, and I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, that's the stadium there. Stadium on a match day. I hope not, because there's not many people there. An open stadium with a racetrack, kind of like similar sort of design philosophy to the Camp Nou, obviously just without the stands going up. It doesn't strike me as a massive stadium. What's the capacity? Only 37,000, so not super high for a national team. So I can see why they go around the country with stadiums like Benfica and Lisbon, etc. Portugal's first participation in a major tournament finals was the '66 World Cup, of course, which England won, which saw a team featuring Ballon d'Or winner Eusebio finish in third place. That's not a bad showing for their first ever tournament. Made it to the semi-finals of UEFA Euro 1984, losing to the hosts and eventual winners France. They had a decent run in the early 2000s, of course, so we can see that here Portugal finished 4th at the 2006 World Cup and runners-up at Euro 2004, of course famously losing to Greece, of all countries. Fair play to Greece. I was just about sort of compos mentis at this point. I was only 4 years old when this tournament took place, so I very, very vaguely remember, but I'm fairly certain that we got knocked out by Portugal in that, and I do remember that, I think. Let's look at their kits. So they have recently changed from Nike to Puma, which I'm not a massive fan of. I like their Nike kits. I'm not a big fan of Puma as a manufacturer, but they've got a fairly cool away kit with the green and red. I think that in terms of national team colours, that Portugal have got the nicest out of all of them. I wish they made the red darker. I think this shade of red on the logo is the nicest colour, when they used to have those really sort of dark maroon shirts in the early 2000s. Those were my favourite. So it's kind of a bit of a love-hate, because I love their colours and love their kit, but I didn't really like them as a team because they kept beating us. So they're currently 5th in the world. The highest they've ever been is 3rd, most recently in 2018. Their lowest was 43rd in 98. Their first ever international, which we will have covered in our Spain video, was a 3-1 defeat to Spain. Their biggest win came only recently, actually. A lot of these records are set in like the 20s, but in 2023 they beat Luxembourg 9-0, of course, just recently beat Armenia 9-1 as we mentioned. Their biggest defeat came just after the war against England, losing 10-0 in Lisbon. They've appeared in the World Cup 9 times and have never beaten their first ever result of 3rd place. The Euros appeared 9 times, of course, won it in that final against France in France when Ronaldo got injured and Eder scored the winner from outside the box. They've appeared twice in the Nations League, which I think started in 2019, and they've won it twice as well. And I think, no, Spain won 2023, and I think the 2021 tournament was null and void, I think, because of COVID. I don't remember who won that one, if it was held. The Confederations Cup, is that still going? Yeah, abolished for the Nations League, but they did win that. No, they didn't win that, they came 3rd. So let's look at a bit of their history. There's another competition was formed in 1914 under the Portuguese Football Union name, and the aim of creating a national tournaments and promoting matches in which a Portuguese representative team would play against other teams from various parts of the world. However, due to the outbreak of World War I, the objective was not feasible for the next 7 years. Portugal played its first match on the 18th of December 1921, a 3-1 defeat. The following year, the inaugural edition of the Campeonato de Portugal, a knockout tournament and precursor to the Taco de Portugal, was consisted with a winner named Portuguese champion. Let's have a look at team image. Do they have? I don't think they've got a bit on here about rivalries. Yes, they do. I don't understand why Wikipedia does it in different order. So we've already had a look at this one, the Portuguese-Spain football rivalry, the Iberian Derby. Of course, on the Iberian Peninsula in southwest Europe. All the list of tournaments that they appear to have played each other, with one of the most famous games being this one here, if anyone remembers this 3-3. Spain faced Portugal in their opening match of Group B. Cristiano Ronaldo gave Portugal an early lead from the spot kick in the 4th minute of the match after deceiving Nacho inside the box. In the 24th minute, Diego Costa equalised for Spain after scoring past the Portuguese defence. Isco saw his shot thumping against the post. Ronaldo gave Portugal lead once again in the 44th minute after Spanish keeper David De Gea was unable to handle the shot. Costa once again equalised for the Spanish side in the 55th minute. Nacho redeemed himself after scoring a superb half volley from outside the box in the 58th minute. Gerard Piqué brought down Ronaldo outside the box at the 86th minute. Ronaldo scored the free kick to equalise the game at 3-3, earning his first ever World Cup hat-trick. That was some strange grammar in that sentence, but yeah, of course scoring late on, almost like a little dink over the wall, and De Gea was rooted. Definitely an iconic World Cup game, and probably one of the most iconic of their rivalry. So apparently they don't have any other rivalries, which I guess kind of makes sense because they're kind of landlocked by Spain, and then they've got the sea next to them, so they don't really have anybody else, I guess, that's near. Let's look at their kits. Portugal's traditional home kit is mainly red with a green trim, reflecting the colours of the nation's flag. Over the years, the particular shade of red has alternated between a darker burgundy and a lighter scarlet. Both green and red shorts have been used to complete the strip. The team's away kits, on the other hand, have varied more considerably, as a lot of teams do. White has typically been preferred as a dominant colour, either with blue shorts or red and green highlights. In recent times, all black has been utilised, as has turquoise teal colour, the latter of which was predominantly featured during the Euro 2016 winning campaign. I do have a kit that encompasses seemingly all of those colours that we'll look through. So, they didn't have a kit supplier for 56 years, then moved to Adidas for 18 years, Olympic Sportswear for a couple of years, and then from 1997 to 2024, so 27 years, they had Nike, which I thought made some pretty decent kits for them, and now they've gone with Puma. Just looking at their coaching staff, of course, Roberto Martinez, formerly the Belgian manager, didn't really impress me with Belgium. I think he was a bit lucky to get that job in the first place, and I think he's very lucky to have this job. I think he's a good manager, but I just don't think he is the guy that's going to win Portugal the World Cup, in my opinion. I think he's just kind of stuck around at international level, and teams have repeatedly hired him. Ricardo Carvalho, of course, made many appearances for Portugal and played in the Premier League for Chelsea. Anyone else we recognise? I don't think so. Okay, so we have Diogo Costa of Porto, Jose Sá of Wolverhampton Wanderers, Rui Silva of Sporting Lisbon, Nelson Semedo of Fenerbahce, Ruben Dias of Manchester City, Antonio Silva of Benfica, Diogo Dalot of Manchester United, Renato Vega of Villarreal, Gonçalo Inácio of Sporting, João Cancelo of Al Hilal, João Palhinha of Tottenham Hotspur, Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United, Bernardo Silva of Manchester City, João Neves of Paris Saint-Germain, Mateus Nunes of Manchester City, Ruben Neves of Al Hilal, Vitinha of Paris Saint-Germain, Carlos Forbes of Club Brugge, Gonçalo Ramos of Paris Saint-Germain, João Felix of Al Nassr, Francisco Trincão of Sporting, Rafa Leão of Milan, and Francisco Conceição of Juventus. Here's some recent call-ups that didn't quite make the squad this time. So João Carvalho of Braga, Nuno Mendes of PSG, Nuno Tavares of Lazio, Pedro Gonçalves of Sporting, Cristiano Ronaldo of Al Nassr. So this must be players that have either joined the squad, been suspended, or maybe gone home injured. Pedro Neto of Chelsea, Rodrigo Moura of Porto, and Giovanni Quenda of Sporting. They do have a great team, and now is probably the time for them to win something, I think. A few of their they've got good players coming through, don't get me wrong, like João Neves, Vitinha of course at PSG, but you look at players like Fernandes, he's 31, Silva's 31, obviously Ronaldo is now 40 and will be 41 by the time the World Cup rolls around. So I think maybe they need to make the most of this generation before they lose it. Obviously Ruben Dias not getting any younger. João Cancelo not really playing at the top level anymore. Okay, so that was the Wikipedia. Let's take a look at the kit. Alright, so here we have the shirt, firstly nicely folded up. So we'll take a look at the embroidery, the crest, the manufacturer, and this in the middle as well. Let's start with the crest, of course, nice big embroidery of the FPF logo nicely stitched on there, with the burgundy, the gold, and what looks like traditional sort of like Portuguese tiles. Not sure what they represent in there. Of course, the Nike swoosh there, standing out against this strip that is representative of their home colours. So of course the black, the burgundy and the green, which I think work really nice together. And then we see this imprint here that I got added onto my shirt, the logo for winning the Nations League back in 2019. Can't remember who they beat. I think it was the Netherlands in the final, I think. So of course won the Euros in 2016 and then the Nations League in 2019, and then they've won it again in 2025, beating Spain of course in that Nations League final. I do quite like the Nations League. I think it's kind of pointless, but it adds a bit of a competitive edge to some of the friendlies at least, and obviously some of the points go towards World Cup and Euro qualification and various other things. So I do think it's generally a good idea, and obviously they've now won it twice. So let's open this shirt out and take a closer look at the actual details of it. this shirt was bought in Portugal. There is unfortunately a slight bit of staining or like discoloration there, purely from sun cream, because I bought this shirt in Albufeira and proceeded to wear it most days. So it got kind of covered in sun cream, unfortunately. There is a detail here, a P, sort of in the style of the crest, P for Portugal. It's got a overlapping V-neck collar, and it overlaps at the back as well, which is quite unique. And then we move down into this thick stripe, as we've seen, but it's not the only stripe on the kit. There is also a couple more further down. If we can show, you can see there's a stripe in the middle and also a stripe at the bottom as well. So 3 stripes on the overlaid over this nice teal colour. I think it's quite a striking kit, but I think it's quite a nice kit. The sleeves, at least on the fan version, are strange. They are extremely stretchy, so the shirt itself is, you know, just kind of standard, but these are kind of like really stretchy material. You can see by the sort of strange design there. Cuffed with a black cuff, and the sides are fairly standard, just a black bit of mesh holding the kit together. I think the numbering for the players would have gone here, but I didn't get anybody printed. We can take a look at the back, because it doesn't actually continue the pattern, so the pattern only starts. Oh no, there is one stripe on the bottom, but the back is left clear for a player name and number. So that is the Portugal 2022 away shirt, and the Wikipedia deep dive as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, please do get your requests in below and we will work our way through them week by week. Thank you for all the support on the channel, and I will see you soon.